everyone, this is Miss Maria
and Miss Maren. Today we're here at Massaro Community Farms in Woodbridge, Connecticut.
Today we're going to be talking to Farmer Corey. Let's go.
Hi everyone, my name is Corey Thomas. I'm the Education Director here at Massaro Community Farm. Here towards the back of the farm we have our goats and our sheep. We use the goats on the farm all times of year to help us clear invasive species and plants we don't want growing on the farm. They like to eat just about any type of plant material, including things like poison ivy. It's one of their favorite snacks. So for example, we had them in this back area here and they ate all the poison ivy and all the thorns and invasive species out of here. And we also move them around the farm so that they can keep our fence lines clear.
Meeting the goats and sheep was really fun, and we even got to see Farmer Corey feed them. Next, we headed over to the nature trail.
So this here is our nature trail. The trail is about a half-mile loop through the woods. It's open to the public year-round, so people can enjoy seeing different birds and wildlife on the trail. In terms of animals we've seen on the trail, we've seen a black bear once before. We've seen possums. We've seen deer very frequently. Foxes, coyotes, all types of birds, squirrels, snakes. So it's a very biodiverse space that we have that's very close to the farm.
Can you tell us what biodiversity is?
Yeah, so biodiversity in this case means there's lots of different types of organisms in one space. Biodiversity is also really important on a farm. For example, on a farm we might have things like rodents that are trying to eat our vegetables, whereas we also have hawks that live in these trees that help control those rodents. So having a more biodiverse ecosystem can be really important for a farm or for a forest.
Cool.
We also collect maple sap from some of the trees in order to make maple syrup in the wintertime. That'll start up around February. We don't make a lot of maple syrup, just enough to kind of help people learn how to do it on their own, which is a really fun process.
After checking out the nature trail, we headed over to the bee yard.
All right, so these are our beehives. You can see we have a lot of beehives here.
Farmer Corey told us that the queen bee is in the middle of the hive. She is surrounded by worker bees who shiver to keep the queen warm.
She can survive until the next season. She can start laying eggs again, and the worker bees can start gathering pollen and nectar from the different flowers all around the farm. Obviously, the bees are really important here at the farm. They help pollinate all of the flowers for the different vegetable plants that we have. Without the honeybees, we wouldn't be producing nearly as many vegetables, so they're really, really important to have on the farm.
After learning about bees, we headed over to the chicken coop.
So these are our chickens we have at the farm. Right now we only have 5 chickens here at the farm, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we're actually gonna get a lot more chickens in the spring. So obviously these chickens are laying eggs for us and we wanna be able to provide those eggs to our customers. So later on this spring, we're gonna have a big chicken coop up the north part of the farm with a couple hundred chickens laying eggs. For now, we just have this small group of chickens here to sort of educate folks and let them know why we have chickens, which is for their eggs, and let folks get a chance to see them up close. So they live here in this coop. They get organic grain and fresh water every day, and this is where they live.
We also wanted to check out what kind of vegetables we're growing this time of year.
So even though we've already had our first frost, a little bit of snow here at the farm in mid-December, we're still growing things here at the farm. So here we have a high tunnel, which is a structure that helps retain heat from the sun using the plastic. So it traps heat, also that's sort of known as the greenhouse effect. In order to grow kale, and spinach. So these are really cold hardy plants. They don't mind growing in the cold weather. If we tried to grow something like tomatoes or peppers or eggplant, they'd be really miserable in here and they wouldn't survive. But these plants are cold hardy, they're able to grow. In fact, spinach, I've seen spinach grow even when it's buried under snow. So it really doesn't mind the cold weather. So even though most of the farm is empty right now, most of the fields are not growing anything right now, we still have lots of crops growing under these high tunnels. So we're growing almost year round here at the farm.
Do you use the high tunnels in the summer also?
We do, yeah. So in the high tunnels in the summer, they're helpful because we can start plants earlier inside than we would out in the field. So for example, we might grow tomatoes in here. We might start them earlier in the year when it's still a little too cold for them to be growing outside. And certain crops do better under a high tunnel, things like tomatoes or eggplants, just because it's so warm and they really like those hot temperatures. So they're also used in the summertime.
Cool.
So this here is the main red barn here at Massaro Farm. So a lot of people ask, well, what does Massaro Farm do? What do you do with all these vegetables? So we offer something called a CSA, which stands for Community Supported Agriculture. So basically, instead of us selling our vegetables to a store or to a wholesale, what we do is folks come to the farm once a week and pick up a box of vegetables every week during the growing season, so usually from June until October. And so that's where all of our vegetables go. But that's not what Massaro Farm was all the time. So Massaro Farm used to be a family-run farm run by the Massaro family, and it was actually a dairy farm. So this barn behind me, which now has solar panels and a vegetable cooler, used to be a dairy barn for cows. And so all of the fields where we grow vegetables now used to be just pasture, just grass, for dairy cows, which would then be walked into that barn to be milked. The Massaro family also raised chickens. They did have some vegetables for their own family. Eventually the Massaro family kind of got too old. They didn't want to care for the cows anymore, and the farm kind of became abandoned. Thankfully, a bunch of community members came together and decided they wanted to keep it as a farm, and they helped preserve it, so it's the farm that it is today.
We definitely learned a lot on our trip today. Thank you, Farmer Corey, for showing us around. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.